Have you ever found yourself always using the same old basic English adjectives over and over again? Words like good, bad, nice, or big, they do the job, but they don't always capture the full picture or make your speech or writing stand out. But what if you could describe things in a way that's more precise and impactful? I'm Ananya, and in this lesson, I'll introduce you to 10 powerful adjectives that'll help you sound more confident and sophisticated in your conversations. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on our amazing English lessons. Let's get started. Here's the first one, lucid. Say it with me. Lucid. Lucid. It is a great way to describe something that is clear and easy to understand. It can also be used to describe a well-explained idea or someone who's focused even when tired. For example, her explanation of the math problem was so lucid that everyone got it right away. In other words, she made it easy to follow. Even though he was tired, his thoughts remained lucid during the meeting. Despite being exhausted, he was still able to think and communicate clearly. So, lucid is a handy word to describe situations where clarity is key. Write your own sentences in the comments, and I would love to read them. The next word is affluent. Say it with me. Affluent. Affluent. When you say someone is affluent, you're highlighting their wealth. It's often used to describe people, families, or even entire neighborhoods that are financially well off. Here are some examples. South Bombay in Mumbai has many affluent neighborhoods with large houses and fancy cars. She grew up in an affluent family and never had to worry about money. In short, affluent is a great word to use when you're talking about wealth and prosperity. Now, let's talk about the word astute. Before we understand what it means, let's take a look at its pronunciation. It is pronounced as astute. Astute. It is a two-syllable word with a stress on the second syllable, astute. Now, this is a great adjective to describe someone who's very clever and quick at understanding things, especially when it comes to making smart decisions. Like, they are the ones who notice the important details and make sharp decisions. For example, you could say, the astute investor quickly spotted the opportunity in the stock market. That means he was very sharp and noticed something valuable others might have missed. Or she made an astute observation about the company's future plans. This means she had a keen insight into what the company might need or do in the future. So, the next time you want to describe someone who is particularly sharp and wise, astute is the perfect word to use. That brings us to the next word, lugubirious. Lugubirious. Say it with me, lugubirious. Lugubirious is an adjective used to describe something or someone that looks or sounds very sad, gloomy, or mournful. For example, if a person is speaking in a slow, heavy tone and seems very down or sorrowful, you could say they are being lugubirious. It's like when someone has a long, sad face or talks in a way that makes others feel the sadness too. Let's take a look at some examples. His lugubrious expression made it clear that he was deeply upset. This means his face showed a lot of sadness. The movie had a lugubrious tone that left the audience feeling down. It means the overall mood of the movie was very sad and heavy. So, if you want to describe something that is deeply gloomy or sorrowful, lugubrious is a great word to use. Next is a beautiful adjective. Ephemeral. Ephemeral. Say it with me. Ephemeral. Imagine you're in the middle of a wonderful dream where you're lounging on a sandy beach, soaking in the peaceful atmosphere. But then, just like that, you wake up and the dream fades away, leaving you with only a fleeting memory of that moment. This is exactly what ephemeral means. Something that is short-lived, lasting for only a brief moment before it disappears. For instance, you could say, the beauty of the sunset was ephemeral, disappearing within minutes. Or you might say, their happiness was ephemeral, fading quickly after receiving the sad news. Which means their joy was short-lived and quickly replaced by sadness. So when you want to talk about something that's momentary, yet impactful, ephemeral is the word for you. The next adjective is serendipitous. I know, it's a long word. Say it with me. Serendipitous. Serendipitous. It's a fantastic adjective that describes something wonderful that happens completely by chance. You can almost describe it as a happy accident or a fortunate surprise. Let's look at some example sentences. It was serendipitous that they met at the cafe. They hadn't planned it. Finding my lost keys in the park was a serendipitous moment. Here, the person wasn't exactly searching for it, but found it by chance, making it a pleasant surprise. Isn't serendipitous a fun and expressive word? Up next is ubiquitous. Ubiquitous. Say it with me. Ubiquitous. Ubiquitous. This adjective describes something that's present almost everywhere you look. Think about something you see all the time, whether it's a product, a trend, or even a song that's playing everywhere. For instance, when we say, smartphones have become ubiquitous in a modern society, we mean that almost everyone has one and you see them all around you. Or if we say, coffee shops are ubiquitous in big cities, this means that the coffee shops are found everywhere in big cities. I hope you got that. Next, let's look at this adjective. Voracious. Voracious. One more time, say it with me. Voracious. This adjective describes a strong or intense craving for something, whether it's food, knowledge, or some passion. When we call someone voracious, we're highlighting their powerful and enthusiastic drive for something. Let's look at some examples. She has a voracious appetite for reading and finishes several books a week. That means she is passionate about reading. After the hike, he had a voracious thirst for water. This means he was extremely thirsty after the hike. Simply put, voracious describes an intense and passionate craving for something, whether it's food, knowledge, or a specific activity. That brings us to the next adjective. Obstinate. Obstinate. It's not nate, it's nut. Obstinate. Picture someone who absolutely refuses to change their stance, even when everyone else disagrees. That's what we're talking about when we say obstinate. It's more than just being firm. It's being so unyielding that it can become challenging. In short, it's all about being stubborn. For instance, he remained obstinate even when everyone else disagreed with him. This shows that he wasn't willing to change his opinion. Another example is the obstinate dog wouldn't move, no matter how much we called it. If you ever come across someone who's being especially stubborn, obstinate is the word that perfectly fits. And now we move on to the last adjective from today's lesson. Garrulous. Say it after me. Garrulous. Garrulous describes someone who is very talkative, especially when it comes to chatting about everyday trivial things. It's like someone going on and on about things that aren't very important. Let's look at some examples. The garrulous old man kept telling stories long after everyone else had left. She grew tired of her garrulous co-worker who never stopped chatting. This means she was exhausted from her talkative co-worker. Isn't it a fun way to describe someone who loves to chat a bit too much? That's all for today. We've covered some great adjectives that you can use in everyday conversations instead of the basic and boring ones. Using these advanced adjectives will make you sound more confident and fluent. So, don't be afraid to try them out. If you found this lesson helpful, then make sure to like it and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any new lessons. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, happy learning!